Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. We're back again. This is our second week for our spring cohort. And as you can see on your screen, we are discussing about certification, an overview on that and the process therein. This is about getting certified, but if you actually want to get certified and need assistance with that, Pat will provide you information on that, but she's also a consultant that can help you with that process. So as you know, certification is an essential part or prerequisite to be able to get those abundance of procurement contracts that are out there, and different opportunities from different agencies and industries. And we want to assist you to being able to um, have all types of ample opportunity to participate in the procurement process. So as you know, or if you don't know, I am Sarah Harris, the president and CEO of the Black Business Association. Thank you so much for advancing the screen on that, because I usually will skip right over that of introducing myself. But of course, I bring you warm greetings today and commend you for embarking on this crucial journey towards unlocking greater opportunities. I won't read the whole thing. I really want us to get dived into this and hand you over to our wonderful, amazing facilitator for this entire cohort series, Miss Patricia Click, who is CEO of Venturous Click Ventures. And so, Pat, I will let you take it away. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And you're doing a fantastic job with the BBA. And thanks again for leading this organization. But before we get started, I want to talk about safety first. So everyone's aware that safety is very important. And it's just something we should always know. Know your exit routes, no matter where you are, at home, in your car, going down the streets. Prepare and make sure you have 911 speed dial on your phone. Have an emergency kit in your car, at home, at your office, and a plan for your family. We can't say this enough, because when an emergency happens, you want to be prepared. So my name is Patricia Click, and I am the founder and owner and president of Venturous Click Ventures and a consulting company. And it's my pleasure to work with the BBA. And it's also my pleasure. I said a little bit about me last time, so I won't do it again this time. But it's my pleasure to have Emma Maxey here with us today. Emma Maxey has a lot of experience in this area, and she has agreed to help facilitate today's session. So I'm going to let her talk a little bit about herself. Emma?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for spending the next hour and a half with us. I am honored to be a part of this presentation. My name is Emma Maxey again. I worked for years with the water utility. I retired in 2019, and part of my job was to work with supplier diversity. I was the supplier diversity manager, so this is very dear to my heart. All the things that you as a small business have to go through to get the opportunities that the utilities or in the other industries offer. It's a lot. So hopefully today we will share a lot of information that would be beneficial for you. I also work for the BBA, and I also did the certification with them as well. So I am honored to be here and looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. And also, too, we have a chat room. So if you have anything you need to put in the chat room, feel free to do so. Sarah will be looking at the chat room. I'll try to look at it. And Emma, we'll all try to make sure we don't miss any questions that you might have. So the outcome of this training. So let's kind of go back to last week. Last week, you were working on your business plan. We started talking about business plans. In your business plan, as you're looking at your market or who you're trying to serve, who you want to work with, hopefully you identified certain companies or industries that you like to perhaps work with. So let's say the utility companies or car industry or Amazon, etc. So those organizations all have, those ones I mentioned, some type of certification that if in fact you certify with them or certify, then you want to work with them, then you have some advantages. And we're going to talk about that. So why you want to certify? Certification is a verification process that a business is a woman, minority, disabled, veteran, or LGBT owned. And that's part of the process. So what we're going to do, we're going to dive deeper into what is the certification and understanding why we should certify. So you should have all received an email, and one of the attachments is titled Certifications in California. Did everyone receive that email? And if not, please put in the chat that you didn't receive it. So this is a list of the most common certifications in the state of California. Look at the list. It tells you to certify an entity, the certification name, the certification criteria, the cost associated with it, the period of time the certification is good for, who accepts this certification, and the benefits of the certification. So what we did, we extracted some of those agencies or some of those certifications and put it on this slide. So there's quite a few certifications out here, and this is not all of them. City of Inglewood has a certification. City of Pasadena has a certification, and many, many more. So we just want you to become familiar with the certifications that are out there. But first, you have to determine who do you want to do business with. So these are the state certifications. And Emma's going to talk about the federals.
Okay. We have different types of federal, and this would happen, different types of federal certifications that you will get to be familiar with, and we hope to go through them. Federal certification is different from a lot of the others. It's a free service, but you have to certify yourself in SAM.gov. So it's the WOSB, Women-Owned Small Business, Economically Disadvantaged Women-Owned Small Businesses, Service Disabled Veteran, and the Veteran-Owned Small Business. There's also a B Corp. That's not a very common certification, but it's a certified B Corp. Is for profit corporations that have been certified by B-Lab, which is a nonprofit company that measures a company's social and economical performance against the standards in the online B impact assessment. And Sarah, you might know a little bit more about this, but this is something that is not common. But if you have to be certified as a B Corp, we can talk about, if your company wants to be, we can talk about it offline, but we just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Yes, there's more and more businesses are, as you can see on the screen, it says make business a force for good. And so it's those businesses that are green, that have recycling or something that is in for renewable or clean tech or something to that regard. You can apply for this type of certification, and therefore contracts that are geared towards those types of companies or take precedent or either require this type of certification. Again, it's not common, but you never know who's in business doing what, and part of that as your business model, you want to be aware that this certification exists.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pat.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the benefits. So unfortunately, when you're presenting, all the little faces, everything just kind of gets in the way sometime, but that's okay. I'm going to move you over to the side, and we're going to talk about the whys. Why do I want to get certified? What are some of the benefits of being certified? So we know official recognition of diverse business status. So once you have that status, if you're working with someone that wants you to have that status, it's recognized. You get percentages and bid preferences for some of them. You're eligible to participate in DBE programs with Caltrans and Metro. You get database exposure, business assistance, and some set aside and sole source contracts could be available to you. In the price evaluation process, then you'll get some type of benefits. You get national recognition for program partnerships, reciprocity, subcontracting opportunities. It serves as a conduit to meet private companies and government agencies, offers promotions and visibility to over 30 investor-owned utilities through the Supplier Clearinghouse, and provides access to resources, bid information, and network opportunities. So I'm going to let Emma speak a little bit more about the whys.
Okay, some of these, for instance, we talked about the price evaluations. A lot of times, if your company is certified and you go to bid with your prime, you get a benefit. Maybe because you are certified, you might get 5% of your bid can be higher than the bids that you're competing with, but you get an advantage for costs for being a certified company. Not only because you are a certified company, but a lot of people don't understand the primes have goals also. They are required, especially depending on where the money is coming from, to meet their certification goals are their requirements to hire diversity within their sourcing opportunities. So certification is a way of verifying that you meet the criteria to qualify when you're working for a prime. Also with reciprocity. And the reason we put that here is, for instance, if you want to certify, for instance, with this utilities, and their certification program is through the supplier clearinghouse. If you are certified through certain other certification entities like WeBank, the clearinghouse will allow you through reciprocity to go ahead and be placed in their database without you filling out an application. And so that's what that means. It'll save you time, but the difference is your certification with the supplier clearinghouse will expire when your certification that you have with, let's say, WeBank. So just keep that in mind. So there's a lot of advantages why we need you to certify. And it verifies by the any entity that you're trying to qualify for that you are a genuine, diverse business enterprise.
Thank you. So I want to pause right here and I'm going to ask the question, how many people by a show of hands already has a certification for their business? And I can't see the hands.
I can't see either.
I don't know if Sarah might be able to see everyone.
If people use the reactions that way, it really shows for you.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. So there's
Sad that I couldn't use it. That's why
I don't see any reactions here. So I don't see any.
How many people on the call are on this webinar to get certified? Maybe that's the question. And that we can help you to get certified.
Okay.
I see a few hands.
Okay.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. So this is the whole purpose of you being here, and we hope that by the end of the presentation, we will help you, and you choose who you want to help you with your certification, but this will give you an understanding the purpose of the certification and why we're doing it.
Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about the regulated utilities. And that's one of the certifications that's kind of near and dear to me. And as Emma indicated, she worked for a utility, and I also worked for a utility for 41 years. So we're going to talk a little bit about General Order 156. And Emma's going to talk a little bit about how General Order 156 even came about, and a little bit about Gwen Moore. But General Order 156 is a California Public Utilities Commission supervised voluntary supplier diversity program. The program encouraged active participation of the investor-owned utilities to procure or contract goods and services with women, minority, disabled veterans, LGBT-owned business enterprises. So what that says is, because of General Order 156, then the utility companies that are investor-owned utilities, all utilities are not investor-owned. DWP is not investor-owned. City of Anaheim is not investor-owned, but Edison is, the gas company is, and the list goes on. There's a program in place to try to get them to do business with minority businesses, as we indicated here on this screen. So we're going to go to the next slide. Okay, Emma.
Okay, and I mentioned about General Order 156. The author of General Order 156 was the Honorable Gwen Moore, and she passed away approximately 3 years ago. And if it was not for Gwen, we would not have this supplier diversity program as is. Mm-hmm. And she did amazing things. And I will be honest with you, a lot of the jobs that we have today, we wouldn't have. But Gwen Moore literally made it so that in order for you to talk with her at the time, this is almost 30 years ago when this law came into order, she said, okay, anybody that come and talk with me about supplier diversity need to be making almost 6 figures. So maybe not that high at the time, but she made it possible for anyone in supplier diversity get a massive raise. So she is the reason we do what we do and have done what we've done. And this program has been amazing, not only having people of color or people that are diverse to have an equal playing field in the utilities. And this is for all the utilities again. Thank you, Gwen Moore. And she's dear to my heart. So every time I see anything that references her, I'd like to talk about it. So the certification and contracting and SPAN goals were one of the goals under GO 156. What that means is for utilities, and it was utilities, to participate under General Order 156. It's the reason why we have a certification through the Supplier Clearinghouse. The Supplier Clearinghouse is paid by the utilities and is managed through the CPUC. So every utility has to have a relationship with the Supplier Clearinghouse to make sure the vendors that are doing work with their company, if they qualify as a woman, minority, a service disabled veteran, they must be in the Supplier Clearinghouse database. And that's how they track who's certified and who's not. The outreach, the supplier development, we have meetings for our suppliers that are working within the utilities. We have training for them to help them to get prepared, because remember, a lot of times, a lot of these small businesses aren't prepared to do all the requirements that are necessary to work for utilities. So we have workshops, we have outreach initiatives where we invite the suppliers to come in, and they're educated about the utilities. They have the workforce ability to do whatever we offer, but we also work with them to make sure that they will qualify for the opportunities that they are going to go through with the certification. And we also, number 4 is our annual reporting requirements that's required by the CPUC. We all have to submit to the CPUC March the 1st, our SPAN with women, minority, service disabled veteran, and LGBT. 21.5%. And so we have these goals, and in order to support what we say we did each utility, again, that certification is important, that you meet the qualifications for that in order to be in the database. Now, if you did work with a utility and you happen to be one of the categories that I named, if you're not certified, they do not get credit for your SPAN. So that's the reason that they work with you so hard, to make sure you go through the Supplier Clearinghouse certification, get certified, so that, and we will show you why it's important, but we're going to also talk about how you can benefit from knowing what their numbers are.
Mm-hmm. And so also too, I think it's close to 30 utility companies as part of the Supplier Clearinghouse. So each one of those 30, they have to report out, as Emma was saying, every year they have to say how they performed. And if they haven't reached the 22% or 21.5%, then they have to explain why we didn't reach that. And as I said too, we're going to go and talk a little bit more about where some of the low-hanging fruit is and who's actually meeting and exceeding. So these are the reasons. GO 156 says that they need to do the certification, they need to do supplier development, outreach initiatives, and create a report.
And another thing I want to add to that, why this is so important, is they hold the utilities responsible. There's a way, not only are we as supplier diversity managers held responsible for doing our job, the companies that are under GO 156 can be penalized, for funding for something that they want to do the next year. They need money to build a reservoir. They need money to do a major project. And this is how that funding is approved, because if they're not utilizing diversity, they will be penalized for that. They have a meeting once a year called the OMBAC. And the OMBAC, every regulatory agency comes to this meeting, and they are actually held accountable, and they report on their diversity spend. And if you're doing bad, they'll let you know in front of everyone. If you're doing good, you're celebrated as well. So it's very, very important. And all the utilities work hard to try to meet the goals that are set forth. And when they can't meet the goals, then, you know, there's ways that other utilities can help as well. So the providing access to contracting opportunities, that's indicated. Diverse classification is defined by business ownership. You must be 51% or greater owner of the business. You must be a minority business enterprise. Ethnicity is Black, Hispanic, Native American, an Asian American, or woman-owned small business, a service-disabled veteran business enterprise, and also California-based firms. And then now we have the LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender business enterprises. This is the makeup of the diversity that is required under General Order 156. And only suppliers with valid certificates to the CPUC clearinghouse can be factored in that matrix that is used to calculate how much or what percentage of the money that the utility spent on diversity. And if there's any questions, we can talk about that as well.
Yeah, after you finish these 4 slides, I think we're gonna talk to make sure everyone understood all that information. There's a lot of information being given.
Exactly. So again, we have meetings, attending conferences, and the industry event. We have a lot of meetings all the time, and a lot of times we have what is called the joint utilities. All the joint utilities get together, and we have a meeting in Northern California, Southern California, Central, wherever it might be, to benefit the mass of people that are working and looking for opportunities in the utilities. It's water, the gas, the electric, the cable, telephone, whatever the CPUC utilities are, you can have an opportunity for contracts. So there's meetings everywhere. We do this, and we advise people to come in and meet with the buyers. This is where you get an opportunity to come in and meet with the buyers. You participate partnering with advocacy organizations that host the events and network event. It's really good. In any big major company, a lot of times used to sponsor these events, and a lot of times they are our primes. So they invite them in, and then what we do, we'll meet with the participating matchmakers and have one-on-one with the suppliers. And this is another opportunity that you get to express yourself with your pitch about your business. And we call it the elevator pitch. You go in there and you pitch your business, and you have so much time, and that's during the matchmaking session. And so that's how you get in front of the people that you want to do business with, and this is how they select you for the opportunities. So this is mine, I think. Okay, each utility must file an annual report highlighting their programming activities and results for the current year and plans for the coming year. The report consists of a combination of narratives, updates, tables and charts, and following information. And I must say that I retired in 2019. This was the most stressful part of my job. This is so detailed. We go into the weeds to make sure that we get, and we are counting everything that is required under that general order report. We do it every year. It's called the annual report. We calculate the dollar and percentage of the spend, values by categories, and we classify, we have to put it in the report by MBEs, WBEs, SDBEs, and then LGBTE. Now, when I left in 2019, we did not have a goal for the LGBT because they were the latest that came in as required under General Order 156. And I don't know if they have a goal right now, but right now, currently, the 21.5%, 15% for minorities, 5% for women, and 1.5% for service disabled veterans. And then we also now add the LGBT goals to that matrix. The number of diverse business enterprises with contracts and spend, if a accessible number of suppliers with California workforce. And most of these you can be out of state, by the way, but you have to have a business in California. And so that's another thing. And you must be certified in the supplier clearinghouse. So I want to make sure that we're not saying that you have to work in California only to participate with the supplier diversity spend. You can have presence out of state, but you also need to have a business in the state of California. Supplier development investments in dollars for diverse business are calculated and it's tracked. And of course, the programming of supplier success stories. We also have an opportunity where as a small business, you can share how your journey. And we put that actually in our supplier diversity reports. We love to highlight vendors that we work with and how the journey that they had to go through, and then the fact that they were able to get a contract. So we highlight those stories, and we get a lot of it, of our pictures and things that are in the report from our matchmaking events. And we have award events. And so you have an opportunity to participate in it, regardless to which of the utilities you work for. And again, this report is due March the 1st. So it's stressful, but the benefits are amazing. Good. Next slide.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, do you mean May 1st or March 1st?
March 1st. Did I say May? No, it's March 1st.
Okay, cool. No,
okay, March 1st of every year, the reports
sorry.
are due. That's okay. And every utility has to file these reports. Now, if for some reason you can't file it, you have to have an explanation, and you have to go and tell the CPUC why you didn't file your report. And they make that known. But it's very interesting. The reports are, once they're done and you look at it, we're going to talk about that, how looking at those reports will benefit you.
Okay. So we're going to pause right now. Thank you, Emma. You gave us a lot of good information. So I want to pause for a second to just make sure that everyone understands exactly what was just shared with you and answer any questions if in fact you have any. And I didn't look at the chat room. Emma, I don't know if you're in the chat room.
I'm not in
or not. I'm sorry, I meant Sarah.
I'm talking.
I meant Sarah. If we have anything in the chat room that we can answer.
And I don't see anything. And I will say, we don't have a lot of people on here, so if they want to unmute and ask a question, is that okay, Sarah?
Yes, that'll be fine. Anyone have any questions at this point?
Yeah, I had a question. This is Felicia. I was curious on what kind of businesses typically bid, and like, is there a specific aspect of small businesses that the various contractors are looking for within this meet and greet or one-on-one sessions when you're like pitching yourself?
Want me to answer that?
Yeah, you can, and then we're going to talk.
And then we can talk about, that's a nice question that you asked.
Yeah,
Let me, first of all, this portion of our presentation, CPUC, Supplier Clearinghouse and Utilities, is just one segment of the certification. We have certification not only through the CPUC, which are the utilities, we have certification for the cities, the state, the county. Whoever's requesting a certification, depending on the products and services that you procure, is where you go after the contracting opportunities. So when we talk about CPUC contracting, well then, if you can do anything that any type of service or products provide that will qualify to work for the utilities, and remember we said that there are 30 companies or plus that you might be able to work. And I think Pat is going to show you the screen where we actually aggregated all of the percentage for, I think, last year's reporting, the percentage of that they reported to the PUC, and you look at it, and we can explain what that chart is going to mean. If it's something that you see that they only spent 10% in this area, well, heck, this is what I do. Maybe I need to go and try to get an opportunity with that company that has a low spend. As long as you qualify and as long as you're certified for the CPUC, this is how you go out and decide on what companies you feel that you can go out and work for. It's your choice. Did that make sense?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying. It's like you use the data to then see where there's a missing opportunity and
Yes.
kind of pitch yourself towards them.
Absolutely.
And also too, in the annual report, Emma, doesn't it show where they spend, where they already spent, and what they plan to do for the following year?
That's also, yes. And so the next few slides will show where they actually spent. So when you look at this, this is a good, go ahead, you want to talk about this, I think, Kat.
Yeah, this is one of the slides of the top 10 top performers, and it's close to 30 that's in the pool for investor-owned utilities in the state of California. So the goal is 21.5%. We rounded up to 22% that they need to meet. These companies have exceeded the 22%. So not only did they meet what was required through the supplier clearinghouse, through the CPUC rather, that they even exceeded it. Then you have another group who did not meet the goal. I consider this low-hanging fruit.
Exactly.
None of these companies met the goal. And because they didn't meet the goal, their goal is to meet the goal. So this is an area that I would say, if in fact you read the annual report, do some research on these companies and determine that they need your product or your services, these are the companies I would pitch. I would pitch these companies to try to increase their spend goals, spend in those areas. So then you say, and the question came up, where they spend the money on? Emma, I'll let you take this one.
Okay, this is interesting. I think this is the most telling slide for me. If you look at this, you'll see engineering, accounting, research, management related. These are opportunities in this field. And engineering comprises of a lot of things. Regardless of what type of engineering you are, you have an opportunity to work for the utilities. Accounting, we all know everyone needs accounting. I think the misconception, people think that because we are a utility, they don't even think about the opportunities that utilities offer, and they have the same requirements that any major business has. They need engineers, they need accounting, they need IT, they need research, management, they have HR. There's a lot of opportunities. So 22% of the almost 23% of the spend. This is aggregated all the utilities in this category. So you notice the numbers that are next to them: the business service 73, construction, special trade. You know, we have these numbers. These numbers are SIC codes, and if you know what a SIC code is, first of all, they're outdated. They're very outdated because people don't use the codes anymore, but the supplier clearinghouse still uses the SIC codes. And the SIC code is basically, SIC code is a standard industry classification, and it was introduced in 1930 to standardize how government agencies collect, measure, and analyze and present statistic data on business activities. The SIC codes have been gradually replaced by NAICS codes, which is a collaborative effort between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So really, when you register or plan to get certified through the supplier clearinghouse, you can go and figure out what your SIC code is, because there's still a link that will share with you all the SIC codes. But next to that, you also can track your NAICS code. And because the clearinghouse certification requires that, does not mean the other certifications that we're going to talk about, they may ask you for your NAICS code. So there's one and the same, but the NAICS code is a self-assigned system, and essentially What that means is you pick the code that best suits your business and use it when asked for the code. No one assigns your SIC code. So remember that. You are responsible for picking the best code for your NAICS code that describes your business. So, and the way you can do that, if you go in, I know this is a lot of technical, but the reason we have these codes again is because we are required to report the categories of our spend by the codes, and then that way we can see, okay, we spent this much. Now, and if over most of the utilities are spending 22.9%, they've exceeded the goal just by using these categories of work in some areas. But all of these other areas, look at legal services, 2%. If you're an attorney or work in the legal area, that's where I would try to look at things that you might do that you can pitch to the utilities and get those opportunities. Look at the gas and electric and sanitary services. Well, that's 1.4%, but just go down using this here matrix will help you to decide, okay, what company should I go after? Because what I do is one of these SIC codes or the NAICS code. So if you go in and find your NAICS code, they will tell you what the SIC code is for just for the clearinghouse reporting. You don't have to search, but once you know that, you'll see them side by side. So does that make sense to everyone? And I can't see the response, but
Tiffany has a question.
Tiffany, yeah.
Do you
Has her
have a
hand up.
sense, you have percentages, but do you have a sense of like dollars amount that's spent?
we do. You can see that in the report. You can see the total amount of dollars, and I don't know if we added.
Didn't put the dollars.
I know we didn't put it in this chart, but to answer your question, if you look at what the lowest hanging fruits are, that may be something that you do. Then when you go to that utility, and obviously none of us are doing a whole lot, like, and I use legal. Everybody has to have legal services in their business, okay? And if you have that, if you are in the legal space, go to the utilities and try to work with them, because that is the area where it's 2%, and this is all of the utilities, 2%. That's really low. So you look at the annual report, you can see exactly how much. Let's say even the highest utility that had a 67%. Go back one slide, Pat. I just want to show them something if you don't mind. Yeah, 67.61%. We don't know. This is great. Trust me, this is way big. This is the highest I've ever seen any of the utilities. And this is a water company, a small water company, and I know them very well. But you get in the weeds. What made up that 67.61%? They exceeded the goals, but did they exceeded the goals in every category that's required? Again, that's women, minorities, service disabled, veterans, and LGBT. So looking at the reports would give you an idea of where they're spending their money, and based on what you do, how can you contribute to that so that you can help their numbers to go up.
So yeah, to piggyback on that, you can go to the annual report. You're going to Google Suburban Waters Supplier Diversity Annual Report. And then you can look at the data in the report, and it will tell you where the money is being spent.
Mm-hmm.
And how
right now we're looking at the bottom line, but it will say, okay, you got minorities, and the whole thing will say minorities. The other thing is we break that down in the areas that classify you as a minority. We have women-owned businesses spend. We break that down, and you can see how much are they spending with women's. Now, they might all be included in this 67.61%, but maybe they spent most of their money in an area, although and I think they met every category, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't looked at their report, but they made 67.61%. Did they make it in there? Did they make that goal in every category? Not 61%, but how much spend did they have in the other categories? So that's how, based on what you do, that's that's how you read those annual reports, and you pick the ones that you want to work for. I use this one because it happened to be water, and I'm familiar with that. You might want to go to the gas company, San Diego Gas and Electric. They're 39.75%. They all exceeded now. That's good. You can go to any of these, PG&E, anything, any of these companies that you see that did exceptionally well, and they met the overall goal. You can work for them as well. Find out what, because obviously they're out there, they're hustling, they're working, they're trying to bring diversity. So when you see someone is really trying to increase their numbers, this is a good example. But then go and show the next slide, the one I showed you after this one, Pat. Yeah, right here, where you see that they didn't meet the goal, then you might be an asset to them too. You might be able to go in and do some of the things that maybe they haven't found a person like you to do whatever it is that they have low spin in. So don't limit yourself. And that's how I tell people, don't just work for one company if you can work for 3 or 4. So if that's helpful.
And this is the chart that I would focus on, because the other chart, they're already meeting the goal. So they're doing well. I'm thinking, I could be wrong.
Well, they met the goal, but there might be some areas within those goals that they didn't do well on, because what we're looking at is the overall. The where you measure their success. Did they meet all the goals? Did they meet the 21% overall? And was it 15% for minorities? Was it 5% for women? Was it 1.5% for service disabled veterans? Did they have any spend with LGBT? Sometimes they meet the goal and they don't have any spend for LGBT. And so did they met the overall goal, but they still have areas where they need contracting opportunities from people that can qualify to bring that to them.
Right, exactly. So you won't know until you read the annual report.
Right.
But at view, just seeing what we see right here, we know right now that these companies are not meeting the goal. So this is definitely low-hanging fruit, but you need to do your research on all those other companies, and all of them had to file an annual report by March the 1st for the previous year's performance. And they also have to predict where they're going to have some of their spend in the following year. Any questions? That was a lot of information about GO 156.
Yes, I have a question, Pat. I'm in a insurance business. What's the SIC code? What kind of certificate I need?
Interesting. Okay.
Thank you.
The SIC code, that's the SIC code. They may not for certification for the insurance industry. Remember, the SIC codes that I indicated and that we're looking at here is for the Supplier Diversity, or a CPUC, California Public Utilities Commission. This is what they require, that they identify their spend with the SIC codes. And they have, because we know they're going to fade out once and for all with the CPUC, they also have the NAICS codes available to replace the SIC codes. But for the insurance industry, you have to know, are they still using SIC codes? It's the same thing. If they're using SIC codes to identify the products and services that you procure, and if they do, it's the same thing that I just indicated for the supplier clearinghouse. And remember, the SIC codes is just a standardized industrial classification. That's all it is. That's been around since the 30s. So, and all it does is tell people that are asking for a classification for your product or service, based on what code they're asking you to share that with. Remember, it could be the SIC code or it can be the NAICS code. So the insurance industry, when you go to, and they do have a diversity program, and I'm not sure who regulates the insurance. Like we know, the CPUC regulates all the utilities. Insurance is another entity, and I remember working at the time when I was working, they also had a requirement for diversity. So theirs is separate from ours that we do under the supplier clearinghouse. And maybe it might be the same as what's used for the city and county and state. So you have to check that out. But if it's required to get your SIC code, or NAICS code, it's the same for all companies. There is a link that you can go under to find out on your industry what your SIC code is. And then when you get that, because they're side by side, you can translate your SIC or your NAICS is the same, but you pick which is best for you.
And William, what
Thank
services
you.
are you planning on offering through your insurance company?
I'm sorry, Pat, what'd you say?
What services are you planning on offering through your insurance company?
Oh, that's really good question. I'm lost, you know.
Well,
I basically pretty new.
well, are you saying you want to get certified, your insurance company? You're a business, right?
Correct.
What type of services do you provide to people that you're trying to do business with?
That's a good question. You know, I'm with Farmer Insurance, so Farmer have all line of business, commercial, residential, homeowner, auto, worker comp, any contractor liability insurance. They cover most of them. You know, it's from A to Z, motorcycle, boat, apartment building, industrial
Well,
building.
I don't think you would have a SIC code for instance, the types of insurance that's required for an individual. Let's say I'm a homeowner, and I have to have insurance, right? So I will find an insurance agent that can provide insurance for me to cover let's say my homeowners, or for rental insurance. Let's say I'm renting and I want to have my home or my furniture and all of that insured. So that's renter's insurance. So, but I go to your company because you have an agent, and I will ask you, can you provide me renter's insurance, right? Or can you provide me automobile insurance? I'm assuming you can do all of those things. So you technically are just providing a service which has nothing to do with certification. Now, if whoever regulates the insurance company, they may have you to have diversify the insurance company, because let's say all the agents are not people of color. They need to diversify their workforce so that they have inclusion in everything. And that is where the requirements that you have to meet, or you meet if you have your own agent. And so the insurance is just trying to bring in diversity within the insurance industry. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Thank you. So how can I certify my business for this type of?
Well, you look
First,
at. Go ahead, Pat.
First, you have to determine, is there a need for your type of business?
Yes.
So the people that, let's say the utilities, we're talking about utility companies now. So would a utility company need your services? Now, if in fact you were perhaps selling some insurance for a healthcare package, you know, you're really large. So for their employees, some type of healthcare through your insurance company, that could be something that could possibly be interested in.
Exactly.
But yeah, but the lower level, the automobile insurance or the house insurance, I'm not so sure if the utility companies are interested in, you know, contracting someone from the outside for those services. But that's where you do your homework.
And they can. Let me give you an example. It is required in order to do business with any company, you have to have a certificate of insurance. You have your general liability on there. You have your workman's comp. You have your another one that you named. All of those are on that. Your liability. All of that is on your insurance certificate. Now, let's say that you are a diverse insurance agency and they bought their insurance through you. Now, it is required with anybody that you're doing business with that you meet those insurance requirements. You need to find out by that company or that contractor coming to you to get their insurance, are you also certified in the database whereby they can count that spend that you provided? In here on this this supplier diversity chart, you see real estate, and that just came to mind about real estate as a let's say that you can sell property, or there's an easement that's, and this is getting a little technical. I don't know we have time to talk about it, but let's say that there's something that the utilities have to go to a company to get some information from an insurance agency. If you happen to be certified, well, then get certified through whoever is regulating you to have the certification. And then you can count that spend, and maybe there might be you may be able to get certified through the supplier clearinghouse if the utilities can use your service. So that you have to find out if they will certify your business. I don't see why they wouldn't, because you are providing the service that we all need. And for instance, like I said, if there's an easement that needs to be investigated, they hire a realtor to sometimes to go out, or they're trying to purchase property that's in eminent domain. There's reasons that they may need your services. So you can contact the supplier clearinghouse, for example, to see if you can certify through them. And that way, I think that's the answer to your question.
And we can talk, we're going to talk,
Thank
William.
you.
We're going to have a separate conversation. So we'll go into it. As part of your business plan, who do you plan on doing work with?
Right.
And then once you identify them, then you determine whether or not they have some type of certification requirement. So great conversation. Pretty much we've talked about GO 156. We talked about the utility companies, how to do work with the utility companies. And utility companies has a goal that they're trying to meet. So again, I don't know what products and services you offer, but I would definitely look at the annual reports. I don't have one in here, but again, supplier diversity, annual report, Southern California Edison Company. It will come up and you can read that report.
Absolutely.
See what they're buying, and the other utility companies as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so if in fact you want to get certified with the Supplier Clearinghouse, which is under the CPUC, this is the portal. This is what the portal looks like. So you go in, again, as we said, women, minority, LGBT persons with disabilities, and disabled veterans businesses. So you go in and you log in and you have to register. Once you log in and you register, then you can move forward in whatever certification category that you're interested in. We gave you a list. You should receive that in your package, and I'm going to refer to that now. Can I pull that up here? And it gives you a list of all the documents you're going to need. Now, they might ask you for something that's not initially on this package or on this, this communication that we gave you, but you're going to need to prove if you're African American. You're going to need to have your taxes. You're going to need to have a birth certificate or a passport. You might need a letter, a written letter, proof of medical coverage in some cases, participating in other programs, but you have the list there. Sarah sent it out to you. Look at the list of things, gather your information together, put it on your desktop. So when you start applying, you have all your documents there.
Right.
And you have a series of questions that you're going to have to answer. And once you answer all those questions and you submit it in, then they review everything. Just because you apply does not mean that you're going to be approved.
Yeah,
So,
but they'll tell you if you do not qualify. But
yes.
I'm gonna tell you one question that they're gonna ask you, even though they know you. I work for the utilities. I work with the Supplier Clearinghouse. So after I retired, I decided to get certified as a small business, which I do consulting. They made me write a letter and have that letter notarized to state that I'm African American. Now they know I'm African American. I look African American. Even though they know that, you have to get a letter certified as your ethnicity. And it's just what they do. So don't take it personal. Whoever you are, they make you, even if you prove who you are on your birth certificate, they have you. That letter that they ask you to submit, it has to be notarized, and someone is certifying that they know you to be who you say you are. That's
They are.
something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, as the service of the Black Business Association, we've gotten a number of calls that the clearinghouse has directed people to call us
Write that letter.
to write that letter.
I know.
Somebody told me once that, Sarah, hey, I need my Black card. So,
That's exactly so.
you
That's
know,
something we don't think about.
you know, right? This is literally a Black card where we send you it's a letter declaring that you are Black, a Black-owned business, actually, too, because we also need to have review and have proof that your business is established. But yes, that's one of the services that the BBA provides for our members.
And it's really a simple process to apply, you know, the information that they need to make a determination. Either you have it or you don't. They might ask for articles of organization if you're an LLC. They might ask for articles of incorporation if you're a corporation. If you're sole proprietorship, they won't ask for either one of those. And birth certificate, taxes, your EIN document. So it's on that list of all the things that they ask for. I am in the process of recertifying right now as we speak. And I sent in everything that they requested, but they came back with something they had not asked for before. So now, and which is my EIN document. And I've been certified since 2013. So they want that again. I gave it back to them in 2013. So now I'll just have to send that back to them. And then hopefully I will be recertified within a week or so. Okay, the next one. Oh, any questions? Okay. So Cal eProcure, I think this is I want to say easiest, but probably more straightforward and more simple to apply for. You can apply for this particular certification and receive it within 24 hours. The other one, because you're pretty much self-certifying here, and they verify it after the fact. The previous one, the Supplier Clearinghouse, it takes 30 to 45 days and sometimes a little bit longer. And you're not self-certifying. You're submitting the information, they're going to verify, then they certify it. This one, within 24 hours, you can certify as a small business or small business public works. Now, the Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise takes a little bit longer, but I always suggest that this is where someone should start. You kind of get acclimated on how to submit in for certifications, and it's a good place to start, and then move on to the others. So the order I always say, start with this one first, then move to the Supplier Clearinghouse, and then you can come over to the Caltrans, the DBE one. This one asked a whole lot of questions, a lot of notary needs to be done, and sometimes various statements that needs to be included in your certification process. This one takes a little bit longer. Also, this one, they'll either come out to your business or they'll have a phone call with you about your business and ask you key questions. They might have you take pictures of your establishment if you say, in fact, you say you have a brick and mortar. So this one's a little bit longer, but it's a great certification to have, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. And just because the disadvantaged status doesn't mean that you're African-American or Hispanic or Asian. It just means I could be white and I was disadvantaged with getting opportunities. And if I can prove that, I can get a disadvantaged status.
And I would like to say that Caltrans is one of our partners, and they are abysmally low with African-American Black contracts for Black firms. So this is when we were reviewing about the percentages, we're like in the 1%, barely of 1% compared to, like, you know, double digits for other groups and stuff. And so this is an opportunity to come in, and we're fighting to be able to bring more qualified firms to Caltrans to get more of these contracts, because they need to raise their goals on here. Mm-hmm.
And this one requires a lot of time too.
Yeah, a lot of time, and they make it like that, but it's such if you look, there's so much Caltrans contracts around the city. You see street improvements, all of that is through Caltrans. There's a lot of money that's invested for contracting opportunities through Caltrans. And even though they ask for a lot of things, and I just encourage you guys to take advantage of the certifications through all the different entities that we're sharing with you today. And it is a process, but once you get it, make sure you keep it up to date, because as most of them are annual renewals, and all you have to do is just go in and update it if anything changed, like your whatever the changes. And that way you don't have to do it over and over and over again. But take advantage of the certifications and keep the folder separate for each certification, but the information that you have in each folder is probably what you're going to have for most of them anyway.
That's true. I had a client that was doing the DB certification. It took him about 6 months because they were asking him to give additional information, and he wasn't committed to it. He thought he was just going to run through it pretty fast. No, you can just sit down, take your time, put your paperwork together, and answer and respond. Then he submitted his taxes in, but his taxes weren't signed. They send it back to you. You have to make sure your taxes are signed. So there's a lot of things that are required. Tiffany, we're going to ask you a question in just a second. A lot of things that are required during the process that you got to stay close and focused on each question and make sure you respond properly. Tiffany had a question.
Yes, I just went through the certification process with LA County, and after going through that, I discovered that there was all these different entities that you need to certify. I wish I had taken this course before I went through the county. So my struggle is I'm trying to figure out which organization should I certify to get the biggest bang for my buck. So I'm not going through each individual entity. So I don't know if you answered. I joined 30 minutes late. I don't know if you answered that question around which entities I should, which entities. Like I saw Supplier Clearinghouse is one. I think there's like a National Minorities Supplier Diversity Council is another. So just trying to figure out where should I spend my time if I want to reach.
What type of business do you have?
Gets certified with the largest number of entities.
So
my business is consulting. So my focus organizational development consulting, change management, and diversity and inclusion. So like leadership development, diversity, equity, and inclusion, organizational change. So it's business consulting.
All of them.
Okay. Yeah, all of them really. Let me just give you some advice. A lot of these and we're going to talk about it, free certification. They don't charge you. One of the best is the Supplier Clearinghouse because it's free. It's not as complicated as some, but you do have to require, like I said, the things that they ask for. But your certification is going to be good for 3 years. So take that in consideration, 3 years. So I would start there. At least you have something. And again, and when you go to another entity outside of the utilities, see if they have reciprocity. Maybe they will accept your certification because you are certified through the clearinghouse. So that's the most I would suggest. But remember, what you do is something that the utilities can hire you for. And the reason why I'm saying that, you can't go to the Supplier Clearinghouse to get certified if you have a business that you know that they're not going to support you in. They don't buy the products you sell or they use. So make sure it's something that you think you can, even if they don't give you a contract, you want to get certified. Okay, remember that. But if it's something that's totally off the wall that is not unique for the utilities, and the reason why the utilities are paying the clearinghouse to do the certification, and it's very expensive. So they keep track of who's asking for certifications, and sometimes they may have to get you to get proof. Well, why are you asking for certification? Because it's something unique. And they'll say, give us a letter from that company saying they want you to get certified. That's just food for thought.
Yeah. Thank you, Emma. And actually, I was going to say, because I sit on the LA County Small Business Commission, and actually on the committee for procurement and reciprocity. And I was just getting ready to say that there's some synergy between agencies, especially like with the city and the county and stuff. And so I'll follow up with you there. I see what you
They
I
don't.
can.
I asked, because I asked the city of LA, I said, hey, I just got certified as a maybe weeby with the county. I have proof of that. They're like, do you accept that? They're like, no.
Yeah.
Well, there's certain ones, but it's like what you said. And so in other words, I can follow up and to get that specific information and send it to you. But there is reciprocity between it, just particular ones, and I will follow up and get that information to you.
Thank you.
Right.
That would be very helpful.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. A lot of good conversation. You know, what certification should I go after? You know, and that's important. And reciprocity is very important. So this is just a few. This is just a few of the companies that have a supplier diversity department. You know, that they have a goal. The utility companies, we know they have a goal. It's 22% or 21.5 roll.
Yeah, 22. Mhm.
Yeah. The other, Costco, Honda, Wells Fargo, Amazon, and more. They also have supplier diversity programs.
Right. And we
you
didn't put
on their
insurance
website.
on here.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, insurance
Insurance.
also.
Yeah.
So that's where your homework comes in. That's where your research come in. Do they have a supplier diversity program? These do. We know they do. And what's their goal? And do I have a product or a service that they use? And so then you want to go towards them as well. Raquel has a question.
Where is she?
We can't hear you, Raquel.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
Hi, Raquel.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got disconnected.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you
For
were
how
asking
long?
me something? Just
Were
right
you
now.
asking? I thought you had a question.
No, I just got kicked out. I was just logging back in right
Oh,
now.
okay.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I've been on the whole time.
Good.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
saw you earlier.
Mhm.
So when you're writing your business plan or think about your business plan, who do I want to do business with? Look at that company and see whether or not they have a supplier diversity program. I have a client right now that's trying to work with Amazon, and they need the women business enterprise certification. That's what Amazon is requesting from them. So we're working on a women business enterprise certification. Let's say someone might want to do some business with Honda. I don't know what Honda asks for and what they accept and what their goal is. But you can do some research and see and answer all those questions and determine whether or not you want to get certified to make sure that you can do business with Honda, Costco, etc. Back in the earlier, Emma was reading, I think it's part of the GO 156. It lists a whole lot of companies, Disney. I think Disney was listed and other companies. All those companies had supplier diversity programs. So if you think you can do business with them, you want to study those companies. So you said, okay, I've identified, let's just say Southern California Edison Company. I want to do business with the Edison Company. I want to do business with the gas company. So now they have requirements once you go online at their in their portal. So Edison says, we want you to register in Ariba. Ariba is the tool that they use internally to Southern California Edison Company to manage their vendor relationships. The gas company, Southern Cal Gas, they use Ariba to manage their vendor relationships. But you have to register on each individual website. You have to go on Edison and register through Ariba. Then you got to go to the gas company and their website and register through Ariba. So many other companies also use Ariba because they're a very, very popular portal that helps in the vendor relationships.
I'm going to post in the chat a series of links to different procurement type events coming up. And one of them is Edison is hosting, I think it's like 10 steps to, let me look at that again. It was 10 steps to winning an RFP or proposal. And so you can learn specifically how to register on Ariba and then just the process to getting a winning bid with them. So links to that event and others will be posted shortly.
Great. And because Ariba is such a huge company and it's nationwide, you can also have access to other companies that uses Ariba
Right.
and some of their opportunities as well. So Ariba is a great portal to be registered in.
And then some of the utilities, and I'm using, I know that, like she just mentioned companies, but the gas company, Edison, they're utilities, but they allow you to go in and self-register. Don't think that's the same for all utilities, because the water companies have their own portal, and that portal is individual for that company. So the way you get in their database, you have to qualify, get your certification, and then they do the vetting to get you in the database based on the contract that you are going to have the opportunity to bid on. So it's totally different than some of the others that have a portal where you could register, I guess, just because you can register. It's kind of like SAM. .gov. You can register in SAM.gov and not have a certification and not even be one of their vendors. But we'll talk about how the difference are with some of the utilities versus the government.
And back to the report Emma was talking about, they have to pull every year. They pull from Ariba. Once you're registered in Ariba and you're a vendor in Ariba, they record your spend, your certifications, etc. about you. So the data is pulled actually from Ariba to help compile that report that's due every March. So it's very important, and they won't work with you unless you're registered through Ariba. You have to be registered through Ariba for the engagement. Then you have RAMP LA, rampla.org. I suggest everyone register with RAMP LA. Then you'll be notified about opportunities that come open in the city of Los Angeles and beyond. So I don't know the list of the other cities that participate in RAMP LA, but RAMP LA is for all city opportunities. And once you put your NACES code in, then you will receive communications every time your NACES code comes up in an opportunity. You'll get an opportunity to look at the scope of work and then bid on that job.
Now, let me ask you a question for the audience, Pat, and you can explain this. When you register in RAMP, that does not automatically mean that you have certifications. This is just a registration portal.
Just a registration.
Right. So remember that, because it's a free service provided by the City of Los Angeles. Certification bids and opportunities are posted on that portal. So what that means is, if you are required to get a certification, remember, certification is, I know it's complicated. They're not the same as registration and qualification. Certification stand alone. So you have to get certified. It seems like it's a million types of certifications that's required, and believe me, it is. But if you can take advantage of where you think you want to work, whether you want to work for the city, the county, the state, the government, get registered and get certified, then you're there. And when you get your name in the portal, all it's stating is you're there, but if you don't have the certification, you may not get chosen for the opportunity. So if you're there and certified, that's going to be to your advantage.
Thank you. SAM.gov. Emma's favorite.
So now, after all of this, I was telling you, this is the most craziest one. Okay, SAM.gov is an award management in the U.S. government system. A registration is required to bid on government contracts. So remember that. So you can go into SAM today, anybody that have a business, and you got all the information that's required to register in SAM. That means that same list that Pat has showed you, that's required for having everything, your passport, your this, all of that list. Make sure you have it when you go into SAM.gov. And so what this will do is to let anyone going into SAM to see what type of business you do and who I can send a bid to. So you can be in the SAM.gov because you have a business, you have your proper identification, your SIC code, your NACE code, etc. Now they will probably ask you for the NACE code. They won't ask you for the SIC code. So the NACE codes is what the SAM.gov uses. They ask for all this information, and but if you do not have this link that's required. It used to be the Dunn Bradstreet number. They no longer use that Dunn number. They automatically will tell you if you don't have it, we will provide that number for you. And that number is going to be your new unique entity ID. That is the new number that they're requiring. You can no longer use your DUNS number. Well, the problem with that is if you're registering in the database for SAM.gov and it's time to enter your UEI, it'll stop you. And that way they know you need that number. They're supposed to turn around and provide that number because you've got your name, your email, all of the information in the database that you started. And you can't go any further until you get it, and they will send it by email. And I do know certain people are still waiting for their UEI. It's taking a while, huh, Raquel?
Yeah.
And, have you gotten it yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Still
Yeah,
waiting
you
for it.
have to wait for it. And I've been doing some homework trying to figure out why is it taking so long, but you must have that number. Once you get that number, keep it with your paperwork because you're going to use it all the time. And there's several other numbers that they may ask for that you may not have, and they will provide that number to you via email. So make sure you check your junk mail. A lot of people don't do that. It might go in your junk mail. So if you do that, and that's okay, that's what you should do. And once you get that number, then you can move forward with the registration in SAM.gov. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a certification, but you do want to get the certification through the SBA, whether you're a woman-owned business or and then I will tell you all your certifications that are required through the SBA can be accomplished if you're part of the 8A program. That's something that we don't talk about. But remember, SAM is just an opportunity to put your business in the database. And when the prime contractors are looking for a product or service, they go by your NAICS code, see who has that NAICS code, and that's how they find you. It will ask if you're certified. If you're not certified through the SBA, because these are government contracts, do not put in that you are until you are. Because if you put in that you are, that they're, the primes don't have time to try to find you. They're going to take your word. They're going to send you a bid. If you bid on it and you told them you were certified, you're affecting their business. So you have to be certified if you're not. So remember that. But once you are, you can go into SAM. You can check and see who's bidding on jobs. You can see how much they bid on. Your information should be in SAM. And make sure it's up to date. Your email, your phone number, your company name, everything. Make sure it's up to date. So
we only have 10 minutes left.
Oh my God.
We have so much information, and we have 10 more slides. So
oh my goodness. No, they're going to be quick.
Yeah, we're going to move through those. But thank you for that. So we know the certification, I can't see the title, but certification.
Okay, certification does not equal qualification. And we've talked about that. Right. Certification is a business verified by the different entities that you're trying to get certified through as a genuine diverse business enterprise. That's what that is. Qualification is a diverse business that can successfully provide its capabilities that may include, but not limited to, a business plan and credentials. So qualifications and experience to those companies looking to procure the products and services that you offer. That's all you need to know. You can read this later. So that's the difference between certification and qualification. They are not equal. So you must make sure you can certify and get certified, but if you can't perform and for the contracts that you're doing, it's not going to work.
Not going to work. It's not going to work. Now, one of the things too that happens with a lot of my clients as well, good standing with the state of California. You want to make sure that you're doing your statement of information on a regular basis. Check it, go online under business search to make sure that your state of California registration and statement of information is updated, because they will look at that. And then the other things that you see on the list, taxes and fees, business license, statement of information. Meet the business size standard, your personal net worth. Sometimes they're asked you about that. meeting the requirements for the certification. You need to read what the requirements are. Then let's say you get certified. Oh, that's great. Then are you qualified? What about your elevator pitch? Do you have that? Do you have a pitch deck? Do you have your business plan? We talked about that last week. Do you understand the industry trends? Do you understand your numbers? Understand your value proposition? And do you have a capability statement? And that's what we're going to be covering next week, the capability statement.
Okay, the next slide. WeBank. Now,
can you see
many
it?
of you probably are familiar with WeBank, and I'm gonna just try to get through this really quick. Is a 501c and a regional partner of the Women's Business National Council, also known as WeBank, and WeBank is the largest and most recognized third-party certifier for women businesses. They work closely with 65 plus corporations that do business in your region in California, Nevada, and Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Hawaii, Guam, and American Samoa. The wonderful thing about being part of WeBank, they have access to 400 members. And so that's a lot more so than the Supplier Clearinghouse, okay? And nationwide, their certification is accepted by more than 10,000 major corporations. WeBank West supports women-owned businesses with very minimum annual revenue to $7 billion in revenue. So all of this is saying, if you can get certified through WeBank, and just remember, the mission of WeBank is to increase economic vitality in the communities they serve. They accomplish this mission by advocating for procurement opportunities for women-owned small business, delivering trust and relevant programs. And when I say if you can get registered through WeBank, and some of you might be a member, like you're a member of the BBA, you might want to be a member of WeBank. They actually have they do charge you for getting certified through WeBank, as the next slide is indicating. They do have a small fee, but if you are a member, they discount it. But anybody can go get the certification through WeBank. And remember what I told you, if you are certified through WeBank, then you automatically have reciprocity to get certified in the Supplier Clearinghouse's database. So remember that. And it's only good as long for, and it will expire in the clearinghouse based on the expiration date on your certificate.
Okay.
So these are free clearinghouse certifications, Department of General Services, California Unified Certification Programs with the CPUC, and U.S. Small Business Administration, SBA. Their certifications are free as well. But to do some of these certifications, there is free assistance. With the exception of WeBank, they do charge a small fee. You got Pacific Coast Regional Small Business Development Centers, PCR or SBDC. There's a lot of women business around the state that can help you with free certification. I would tell you, and this is for whatever type of certification you need. If you get certified through WeBank, it's a possibility that they will charge you, but they might get your certification through quicker than if you were going, let's say, through the SBA. It might take a little longer for the SBA, but WeBank has a tendency to process them and they get them back quicker. That's just food for thought. And then we have the different free base $300 to $1,200 that's showing on the next screen for consultants that you might want to hire, and they will help you as well. And Pat is on the phone, and she can tell you a little bit about her business. But all of these organizations, the WeBank, the National Diversity Council, there's so many of them that may have a fee, but they can help you with the certification.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let me go to the next page. We have that. So we gave you a lot of information, a whole lot of information. We only have a couple minutes left, and I like to start on time and I like to end on time. So next week, and we'll ask if there's any questions. Anyone want to stay on a few minutes afterward, we'll be here to answer any questions. Next week, we're going to talk about capability statements, but next week is going to be a working session. We're going to actually work next week, pen and paper or on your computer. These are the things that you need to put on your capability statement, for sure. There might be some additional things. You have this list, or you will have this list of things that you need to put on your capability statement. Come to next week's meeting prepared to actually do your capability statement. And Sarah has a bonus for you. If in fact you do your capability statement, and this is what some of them looks like.
Yes.
She is offered. I'll let her tell you. This is
Go ahead, Sarah.
okay, Sarah, you can talk about this one.
Well, it's exciting because you assemble your information. Then what we're going to do is turn around, put it together into a professional template that we have already pulled together, so that you walk away with you're ready to go with your capability statement. So do your work. Pat, and next week we'll walk you through everything, and then you provide us there'll be a document, a template that you will fill out and send back, and then we will then in turn by the end of it send back to you professional statement. So
and you have an option of color, put the color code, A or B. Those are the two options that you can pick from.
For the layout.
Layout.
When I first did my capability statement, it took me so long to get it together that I would just been so happy if I had this option available for me.
This is wonderful. And this is a big benefit for you guys. If you just bring the information that you're requested, and we can do this for you.
So you'll get that.
And we can actually, far as the coloring, we can actually match, like if you have a logo, match the branding of your logo.
Oh, cool.
Right.
That's
so
great.
Just going back to the pieces that we'll need next week, I was just trying to take a screenshot.
Oh, did you guys send that out? I thought you sent that out to
Sarah's sending this out as well.
Yeah, this will be sent out to you, and we'll send out this information for next week. Yeah, and I'll get that out earlier. We'll get that out by today. Actually, we'll go ahead and send that so you can start assembling and pulling together. But again, next week, Pat will be walking through this with you for each part of it, so that you can understand what it all is, and also too, you may have some questions after going through it.
And we might go into breakout rooms also. So Emma might take a room, Sarah might take a room, I might take a room, so we can make sure that everyone finishes. Mika has a question.
Hi, thank you again, everyone. My question is, you mentioned earlier that there was a certification that we can get within a day.
Cal eProcure.
Say it again?
Cal eProcure.
Okay.
State of California.
And that's the one you said start with that one first, right?
I suggest you start with that one. That's the easiest one.
Well, that's if you're going to do work, if you want to do work for them, but you're right. Start with them.
Yeah.
Make sure you can provide the service that they want.
Yeah. And then you'll be notified every time an opportunity comes up.
It
is 2:31.
And yes.
We made it. We made it. Thank you so much, ladies. Also, I put the links in the chat. I will go ahead and email them too as well, but there are several upcoming events that you will want to check out. Awesome, amazing opportunities out there. I added you guys to our newsletter, and we just sent out the newsletter today. I hope that you're getting it. Check your spam just in case, but in our newsletter, we have grants and more other event opportunities, a host of information. So stay tuned with our newsletters, and we can't wait for you guys to come back next week. This has just been so amazing. I want to thank our partners, Southern California Edison, US Bank, the SoCal Gas, and Wells Fargo for helping to support this effort and bring it together. We can't do them without them, and we can't really especially do it without you guys, and you're investing in yourselves, and we love it. Thank you so much, Emma. Thank you, Pat. This has been amazing. Anybody else has any parting comments or anything like that before we sign off? Nope, we're all good. Excellent.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you
guys.
guys for
See you
being
next
Thank you
here.
so
week.
much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I can
Okay.
see
Thank
everybody
you.
now.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.